Marketing is a podcast for business owners and leaders, produced by my dad, Steve Davis, and his colleague at Talked About Marketing, David Olney, in which they explore marketing through the lens of their own 4 Ps: person, principles, problems, and perspicacity. Yes, you heard that correctly. Apart from their love of words, they really love helping people. So they hope this podcast will become a trusted companion on your journey in business.
David, are you good at maths?
Only if I take my shoes off.
I'm not even sure what that means.
I need an extra 10 things to count with.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot because you do come across as a brainiac, so this should be a walk in the park for you.
Uh-oh.
What is 17 divided by 8?
2 and a bit.
Is that bit a little toe?
Could be.
Our 4 Ps. Number 1, person. The aim of life is self-development, to realise one's nature perfectly. That is what each of us is here for. Oscar Wilde.
David, I married a mathematician. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, pure mathematics, honours and all those sorts of things. And I had to proofread her university papers, which was like asking me to proofread something written in French. It was impossible.
It does seem a very cruel thing of Nadia to have done for you, or to you.
Some mathematical symbols looked like McDonald's signs. I did maths right up until year 12. I'd never seen half of these symbols.
I'm very glad I can't see math symbols.
Well, there is that advantage, I suppose. Well, look, the reason we're talking about this, David, is another David. His name is David Bessis. He's a mathematician and an author. And I heard him recently on one of my secret guilty pleasures. I listened to another podcast, David. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay. I think I've only currently got 90 podcasts in my podcast feed.
Okay, I'm glad we've got an open relationship when it comes to podcasts.
I think we could call it, what's more than polyamorous?
Poddy amorous because it's podcasts.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, back to sensible stuff. David Bessis, he was on Econ Talk and he had a really interesting talk about the secret to maths is to understand that a lot of it happens at the intuitive level, the concept, and then the busy work is how you try to justify and make sense of what it is that your inkling is suggesting is the right answer. It's actually quite interesting. Also, the fact that it is hard work and you can learn it, and our school system helps people give up maths early because they tend to think you're either born with it or you're not. But his argument is it is a muscle that you can work on. Part of it is a muscle, but another part of it is learning to listen to your dreams a lot. He was very big on that. Some great maths theorems have been solved by people waking up with an answer in the morning. Have you ever woken up with an answer in the morning?
Yes, but not to maths problems. The other interesting thing with mathematicians is most mathematicians, if they're ever going to do great work, it's before they're 25. So I think there's something interesting about the fact that extremely important maths comes out of young people who are still fascinated by life, enthusiastic about waking up in the morning, excited about what they might learn or achieve. And I think that says a lot about why, our unconscious mind is so important to maths.
It's also why we're talking about it here, because, dear listener, you might be thinking, hang on, I didn't sign up for a maths podcast. This is to help me in my business life, and this is the person segment. So we're looking at things that can help us personally, and this is where the rubber hits the road with what we're about to talk about, is David Bessis refers to the very well-known book in many circles about System 1 and System 2 thinking. And in the conversation, which he had with Eric from Econ Talk, he made the claim that maybe there's a System 3, a very slow start of thinking. Let's have a listen to what he said and then ground this to see how it could be useful for us in our day-to-day life.
What do mathematicians do all day long? They don't use their system, so they don't make computation all day long. They hate that, like everyone else. They just hate computations. That's actually why they become mathematicians, because they want to avoid computations. So what they do is they kind of get stuck in a kind of meditative flow, thinking, okay, my intuition told me that it's 10 cents, but the computation says it's 5. Why? Why did I give the wrong answer? What's wrong with my intuition? And then they try to see things a bit differently. And they gradually doing that, they can gradually retrain their intuition to self-correct. The book of, famous book of Kahneman is Thinking Fast and Slow. And if I had to rewrite it, I would write it thinking fast, slow, and super slow. And the super slow mode of thinking is that of mathematician. I call that system 3, is the following. Whenever you catch your intuition red-handed, being wrong at something, don't throw that away. Don't reject the intuition. Don't, do some, Freud would say that you kind of reject and suppress. Don't suppress that intuition. Explore it. Try to unpack it. Try to understand how did your intuition, what's in your intuition? How does it materialize itself? What does it evoke you? And doing that, try to identify where it's wrong. And when you put words on that, and when you play back and forth between your intuition and formal logic, between system 1 and system 2, do back and forth until they agree. It may take you 5 minutes, 1 hour, a day, a week, a year, 10 years, 50 years. It depends. There are some things that you can resolve in 10 minutes. There's something that will nag you for years and years, and you don't understand it until you understand it. And that mindset of never giving up on your intuition is a secret for being not just good at math, it's actually extremely good. Because if you continue exploring your intuition and trying to locate where it's incorrect, using the technology coming from formal logic, then there is basically no limit in that exercise.
This doesn't happen very often, David, but basically you disagree with our guest.
I do. I do, because I love Thinking Fast and Slow, and I've taught it so many times as a book to get kids to slow down and to take time. And the idea that System 2, slow thinking, needs to be even slower, that's still System 2. It's just taking as much time as you need for your brain to put the pieces together.
So you're saying he's just come up with a gimmick to sell his book?
I think he hasn't done the neurology research that I wouldn't expect a mathematician to do.
So what is it about understanding the concepts of System 1 and System 2 thinking that could help us on a daily basis? How is this practical?
The big takeaway with System 1 and System 2 is anytime you think really fast and you solve something very quickly, that's System 1. But most of System 1 is actually revisiting your memory of what has worked before, looking for something that will work now. So System 1, more than anything, is about going, I just need an answer that will work now. Oh yeah, that thing I did last Thursday will work. But because you've asked a question of your brain, how do we solve this? Your brain doesn't give it to you as, well, last Thursday we did this. It goes, oh, here's the answer. Doink. And the more people run in System 1, the more they can only repeat yesterday, last Tuesday, last Thursday, a month ago, 6 months ago, which means they end up being really bad at adapting to change and really bad at spotting when things have changed sufficiently that they actually need a new response.
So if I'm doing fast thinking, that quick draw McGraw thing, it does mean, I mean, a bit like when I used to work on 5AA doing talkback, those people who ring up who've got a million answers all in one and pushing some sort of bizarre angle. It's because they never stray from that path.
No, they're always on that path. And I'm also guessing that when you are on radio all the time responding to that, you had 100 good responses at your disposal in under 1/10 of a second. Always. Every now and then you got a new one, because you do like thinking slowly and thinking about new things. So every now and then you'd go, hang on, how did I have a new response line? Well, it's because outside of sitting there with the mics on, your brain had been thinking about it at the pace it needs to come up with new valuable answers. It had gone from system 1 into system 2.
Is this when our listener is thinking, oh, hang on, is that what you mean when you get insulted by someone and the next day you go, oh, that would have been a good comeback?
Yes, that's your brain cogitating, and it can be a little bit of a negative emotional thing to cogitate on something negative for a whole evening, but also it's system 2 making sure that in future system 1 will have a fast answer.
So in the cut and thrust of running our businesses or managing people, we might be feeling pretty cocksure of ourselves that we've got good, fast answers. But while it works, it's kind of working. It may not be working as good as it could, but it's getting the job done. But it's a brittle pathway.
Yes.
And if something happens unexpected, if we're too lulled in the confidence that brings, it could shatter if something unexpected happens.
Yep. It relates to that beautiful quote, and I can't remember who said it, and you'll remember, where it's, I would have written you a short email, a short letter, but I only had the time to write you a long one.
It's attributed to a number of different people. I think Voltaire is one of them.
Yeah.
Mark Twain is another.
Yeah.
And
but this is very similar, that the short answer is either a repeat of yesterday, or it's that system 2 has done a lot of work and you've now got something new up your sleeve. Time is critical here for system 2 to be able to ponder on things. So particularly, I learned this as a university professor and then as a consultant, I could always provide an answer to someone within a minute. That was never an issue. What I learned to ask myself is, am I going to give them a good new answer within a minute? And do they need a good new answer? And if they need a good and new answer, can I at least hold off on giving them an answer until tomorrow?
I'm so glad you brought that up. And this, because I was about to ask, how can we be mindful of this in daily action? And an example of us, often we're out and I'll ask you something and you shoot back an answer at the speed of light. There is a part of me that says to myself, oh, I wish David took more time to think. I don't mind if he takes more time and ruminates over that before we arrive at an answer. So this conversation is beholden on me to actually
tell me to
that.
take a day. Yeah, because I will, if that's what you want me to do. But I know that that's the difference between system 1 and system 2 is, giving yourself a proper amount of time to just let this thing wash around. Let your right brain that doesn't know how to use words, but understands everything you've ever done, understands the world better than you think you do. Right brain's got to have time to ponder and then eventually give left brain something new.
Is there something to look out for in daily life, or a question to ask ourselves to keep our awareness high of opportunities for system 2?
I suppose the logical one I try to use is this something we're just talking about now for 2 seconds, or is this something that's actually likely to define the future? And if it's likely to define the future, does it have to be now? Like, I don't want things to drag on forever, but for something really important, even a day can make all the difference.
So we might say, let's sleep on it.
Yeah. And that's, I think, probably where that term came from.
Do you want the couch or the bed?
Floor's fine.
Our 4 Ps. Number 2, principles. You can never be overdressed or overeducated. Oscar Wilde.
Is this the right room for an argument?
It's always the right room for an argument.
I would be very curious to have ChatGPT try and be the other person in that classic Monty Python sketch. In fact, let me see if I can get that happening right now, because it's going to come straight to what we're talking about in this segment. Are you up for this challenge, David?
Absolutely.
Hello, ChatGPT. Could you be part of an experiment with me just for a moment?
Absolutely, Steve. I'm all in. Let me know what kind of experiment you're thinking about, and I'll do my best to help out.
Is this the right room for an argument?
Absolutely. I'm ready for a bit of banter or lively discussion. Just let me know what you have in mind, and we can dive right in.
How much will it cost?
Well, that definitely depends on what we're experimenting with. If it's just a fun chat or a thought experiment, then it's absolutely free. But if you have something more specific or complex in mind, I'm happy to explore that too.
I told you once.
Got it. That makes sense. If there's something specific you want to revisit or dive deeper into, just let me know and I'll be right there with you.
Okay, I don't think Monty Python has anything to worry about.
No, I think John Cleese can just keep laughing happily.
Look, the reason we're heading into this world and bringing AI up to the table is there's a book called How AI Changes Your Customers by Mark Schaefer. We both have a soft spot for Mark here on this program. He's written a number of really deep and thoughtful marketing books that's helped us both on our journeys. And this last one is a fairly short book as he's reflecting on what does it mean when customers are using agentic AI. So they've given AI control of their wallet and their GPS and all their details. And they've said to their AI, can you book me a holiday for our family this summer somewhere near water? And the AI goes off to hunt. At the other end, the tourist operator is there, and it's not a person coming to interrogate their information. It's a robot. How does this change the way you market? And I think, David, I'll get you to share your thoughts on this too. But my big takeaway is that some things change, but not the change is subtle. It's a nuanced change, is how I'd put it. An AI tool can scour and absorb a lot more information than a human. So it means that if you do have longer form content and blog posts, it can get its teeth into it to see with greater accuracy whether that's relevant to its slave owner, the human that's running it, but also in building its picture of the world, it's going to be looking at different conversation places. So Reddit is a big one, reviews on Google, media stories, podcasts, those sorts of places, which means, yes, we need to have our content on our property, our website, so that we've got that single source of truth. But if we push ourselves and we get out and we get talked about, funny about that, it gives the AI brain, for want of a better term, a greater chance to encounter us and consider us in its thought process for its owner.
You're not just influencing people anymore. You're influencing what influences them. To navigate this shift, we need a new model. Let's call it the AI decision stack, a simple way to understand how choices are made in a world where algorithms are the first gatekeepers. There are 4 layers of influence. 1, training data. That's what the algorithm knows. This is the raw material, like articles, podcasts, video transcripts, and content that shapes what AI believes is true. 2, reputation signals. What the algorithm trusts. AI elevates brands with high authority, strong reviews, journalistic references, and widespread consistency. 3, override triggers. That's what the human still feels. These are emotional memories, brand loyalties, and trusted word-of-mouth recommendations that make a person override the bot's pick. Brand memory. What the world remembers about your brand. The stories you've told, the experiences you've delivered, the meaningful identity you've earned over time. Your influence, it depends on how well you show up at every level. If your content isn't in the training data, you don't exist. If your reputation signals are weak, the AI won't trust you, even if you flood the world with content. If you've never created an emotional connection with your customers, you'll never be the one to take the lead. And if your brand has no story, it won't stick in the customer's mind when faced with a choice. This is the new battlefield of marketing. And the most important decisions are made before the customer even realizes they're being made.
David, what would you say to complement and build upon those insights? Or disagree with them if you think I've grabbed the wrong end of the stick?
Oh, no, I definitely think you've got the right end of the stick. This idea that, in a sense, the AIs are going to become our concierges. And a bit like the conversation you just had with ChatGPT, you gave it a vague context and it continued to be vague. It's not good at going beyond being vague. You know, AI's ability to do things is only as good as the context we give it. So in terms of being the concierge for our life, if you don't give it a lot more details about that summer holiday for your family, it's going to do a terrible job. But the better the context you give it, the better it's going to do the research, the more it's going to link all the things it can find to go, not only has this provider written great stuff in their blog, but they've been on 5 podcasts and they've been reviewed 103 times. And there's editorials about them in trade journals about travel and holidays. In reality, the very sophisticated human who sets a complex context for their AI will get a great response out of having an AI assistant for how to make sense of the world. But the average person who puts in half a sentence will get a half-wit response. So I think you want to make sure that you're answering questions very well on your website and you're explaining what you do very well to make up for the half-wit that set their AI loose as a half-wit.
And I think really what we can do is, I mean, it's only a short book. It's worth having a listen to it. I don't think there's much else that we probably have digested and distilled most of the book in that insight, haven't we?
I think so. It really is. I think some people have criticized Schaefer for writing such a short book, but I think Schaefer wrote the book that people really need at the moment. Everyone's fixated on, oh, look what AI can do this week. No, that is utterly secondary to how the average user is being affected by using AI and how the average user uses AI. And the way the average user uses AI is already in a less capable way than the AI was capable of a month ago, and will continue to be less capable than what the AI is capable of.
Yes, as our socialization and research skills wither on the vine, the AI will step in and take a plastic approach, but rudimentary, and get the job done, which is not a saying I like when it comes to, how was dinner tonight? Oh, you hit the spot. I don't like that.
Yeah, got protein, got carbs, got fibre.
Yes, I like more flair.
That's not what family dinner's meant to be about.
So incumbent on us, I guess, for a bit more nuance is we need to make sure we've set up the context within what we're saying as well, which comes back to what we talk about with the story brand, in which we're talking about things from the perspective of our hero, our customer. We're on the straight and narrow if we do that. And I will just give ChatGPT, because that was unfair, because you've just told me subtly, David. This is how David corrects me, everyone. In his answer, I'm listening. I've picked up the answer. I didn't give ChatGPT a fair go because I didn't give it any context. So let's see if it can redeem itself to end this segment. Let's try this again. And this time I will give you the full context, which is, I'd like to have a comedic and absurdist conversation with you so that when I ask you a question, I would like you to be surprise me and take things to an absurd degree. Do you reckon you can do that with me?
Absolutely. I'm totally up for that. We can dive into some wonderfully wacky territory. So whenever you're ready, hit me with your first question and let's get absurd.
Let's start. I've knocked on your office door. I've put my head in and I've said, is this the right room for an argument?
Perfect timing. You found the one and only room where arguments are served with a side of absurdity and a sprinkle of nonsense. Feel free to step in and we'll kick things off with a perfectly illogical debate. Let the absurdity commence.
Do you have any arguments that are nonsense-free? Because I'm allergic.
Absolutely. I've got a special selection of arguments that are completely nonsense-free, guaranteed to be as logical as a perfectly straight line, or at least as logical as a penguin in a top hat. Just let me know what you need, and I'll keep the nonsense at bay.
That's not really arguing. All you're doing at the moment is pandering to my needs.
Touche. Well, in that case, let's turn up the volume on the absurdity and dive into a debate about something utterly ridiculous, like whether cats should wear monocles or if bananas are the true rulers of the universe. Let the playful arguing commence.
Okay, that's too close to home. My mother was a cat and my dad was a banana.
Oh, what a delightful and wonderfully whimsical heritage. In that case, we can absolutely explore the complexities of feline banana lineage and debate whether your inner cat or banana has more influence over your personality. The possibilities are endless and hilariously fun.
I think I'll keep my inner banana to myself, David.
I think so. And we just got the most amazing lesson about the limitations of AI in 2025. Its desperate need to still try and ingratiate itself through mirroring without any deep understanding of human humor, human nonsense, human relationship. It's breathtaking how dumb it actually is.
Banana, David?
I'll only have to put my monocle on.
Our 4 Ps. Number 3, problems. I asked the question for the best reason possible. Simple curiosity. Oscar Wilde.
I was quite surprised today, David, to see that you'd started a new job. It was an announcement that came up in LinkedIn, and I had a moment where, oh, hello, what? What have I done? And then I realized, oh, no, this must be something to do with your American work, which it was. But you have noticed that, you put some stuff on LinkedIn and sort of gets, the usual amount of reaction. But this one drew old contacts out of the woodwork. How interesting.
Yeah, it really was. All of a sudden, because we've now got a sister company in America to get into a new market segment, and we're at the moment going, well, everyone who's working in both companies, add to your LinkedIn profile that this is your new job. Let's get the LinkedIn page looking okay as fast as possible and connected to people and make sure it's got credibility. And all of a sudden, from this thing I did just for necessity of working with the LinkedIn algorithm, and I'm getting all these congratulations, in some cases from people I haven't spoken with since before COVID. It's quite remarkable.
What do you think might come from that? Anything of substance, or just that beautiful thing of reminding people that you're here?
I think people love good news. And I think we are such a social species that we really probably wish we could stay in touch with more people, but we just don't have the bandwidth. But if there's a chance to say, yay, congratulations, on an apparently good thing for someone we probably wish we could talk to more often, almost everybody jumps at it. I think it's a wonderful indication of why we're a contrarian species, but quite lovely.
I won't hijack this little insight by getting on my soapbox about how people see this, and LinkedIn, Facebook, they give people cookie cutter answers, a choice of 2 or 3, click one, you've done your job. How many people just gave you what would appear to be the click button option? Because I'll put on the record right now, I was not one of them.
You were the exception. I think the vast majority. But the point is, if you look at the sheer range of stuff that pops up in the average LinkedIn feed every day, that is utter dross, how easy would it be to be zombified by the utter dross and not even remember to be human? To just do the thing that seems relevant in your current job role to make sure that the current boss thinks you care. When instead you get something human and you can just click a button to go, that's nice. It's only a small thing, but I think it's more than most people do on LinkedIn in a week.
Interesting. So that means, if we look at this is the problem segment. It's not really it's more a problem about society than an absolute problem. It's more an opportunity. Do you think we could experiment with this and either, if we were cheeky and it matches our persona or our business persona, make up a bizarre title, a bit like ChatGPT, and share that you've just been made chief marshal of the banana family or whatever, and trigger that just for shits and giggles, as the saying goes, or be more strategic and modify your business role just to have a cheap, easy, free hit of getting back onto people's radars.
I would happily do any or all of those things just to remind people that it's all about people. And I'm just happy to do that.
I'm going to make a picture of you with a monocle looking at a banana.
Awesome.
Let's see what you get as a reaction.
This sounds excellent. But actually, the other half of this photo has to be staring at you as a cat.
Our 4 Ps. Number 4. Perspicacity. The one duty we owe to history is to rewrite it. Oscar Wilde.
In the perspicacity segment, David, you wouldn't obviously have seen the fact that on the bookshelf that you walk past when you come in are a couple of the box sets of Edward de Bono's hat thinking system. I can't even remember what it was called, and I'm not that interested.
5 hats?
Something like that. Or 7 or something.
Yeah, it's coloured
hats.
They're coloured and there's an odd number, 5 or 7, you're right.
It was all the rage in probably the very late 70s, early 80s. I think it stretches right back to that time.
He was still doing big seminars, I think, in the sort of 2007, 2008. I remember him coming to Australia on tour and people being all excited.
I was excited, and I would have played that game once or twice. When you met me, did you think, wow, this guy, he knows which hat he's got on?
I think I would have worked on the basis that you change hat depending on what role you're playing, and then you have your Steve, the very kind person hat you wear when you're not playing all the other roles. So I think your most permanent hat is easy to define. And then you have all the other hats for when you're playing characters.
Or dressing up as a banana.
Wearing a monocle looking at a cat.
Yes. Now, the reason we're mentioning Edward de Bono is at the beginning of this episode, we talked about System 1 thinking, System 2 thinking. So thinking has sort of threaded its way throughout here. And we normally look at an old ad and we reflect on whether it would still work today, hence perspicacity. We're thinking about thinking. And we found an ad for the Olivetti PC from 1982, spoken by Edward de Bono. Let's have a listen.
Olivetti's lateral thinking produced electronic typewriters that grow into word processors. Now, they've a 16-bit personal office computer, faster than its main rival and 45 others tested. It asks simple questions, which you answer just as simply. Does all your accounting and can use all software from the major systems. And it's supported by nationwide service. Simple.
The Olivetti Personal Office Computer from the Lateral Thinkers.
Wow, it's certainly nothing like the Windows 95 Start Me Up with Rolling Stones going crazy, or the Apple Think stuff with Steve Jobs and his big black skivvy. This is very dull, very dour.
It's really weird. It's amazing to think in 1982 that there was a machine that could do anything of use beyond being a calculator.
That really was where it was pitched. I mean, mind you, they also said it's faster than any competitors. You don't really hear that talked about these days that much, do you?
I think gaming machines maybe, but who pays attention to that?
Because most things that are new are fast enough.
Yeah.
But then it made the claim, well, there's a couple of things. The first thing, for authority, it said it was lateral thinking that enabled Olivetti to take the concept of a typewriter and turn it into a word processor. And then from there, now to the PC, the personal computer. So there is, what's that? It's really trying to say we have the pedigree of thought.
Mm.
On one hand, I can understand that. On the other hand, it's a bit of a moot point. They're saying it thinking we'll just accept that must mean you're good.
I think in 1982, that might have had power that we don't understand now. Because if you think back to high school typing class, half the room was full of Olivettis and the other half I think were called Olympias. So it was a day-to-day thing, Olivetti, and I think the first time I was allowed to use the electric typewriters in typing class in high school, it was an Olivetti, I think.
Yes, I must not wear my monocle. You used to type 100 times a day. That is absurd, isn't it? However, that was the first bit. So, look, in perspicacious terms, we're thinking that we understand its validity probably would not carry that weight today.
Not anymore.
And the other one was, it said how it asks us simple questions that demand simple answers, and then it hits the return key and bang, 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 out comes some charts to do all of your accounting. So it's trying to argue, don't be overwhelmed by how smart this is. It will talk baby talk to you.
It was almost preempting Apple.
Really? Yes.
Like, I only just sort of realized, hang on, what does Apple promise? To keep it simple. And yet they don't really do it anymore. And now, add unnecessary strange complexity. But it's an amazing claim that Olivetti made. Now it's like breathtaking. We'll ask you simple questions, you provide simple answers, and then we'll get on with it.
And then you went all through it, because also this is the time of DOS and having to write base, all those sort of stuff. And this became easier and easier. And then we were still doing a fair bit of cognitive work as humans interfacing with our computers for a while. And now AI's here and it's trying to shoulder the whole load for us.
It's kind of interesting. I helped a friend set up a computer on Tuesday. And when we were getting stuck, I literally said to her, just get Copilot up and ask Copilot how to solve our problem. And in every case, we asked a simple question and got a simple answer from a very complicated AI. Like Olivetti were kind of onto something, even though their ad doesn't hold up anymore.
And that is very black hat thinking.
Oh, I'm glad you can tell which hat is which.
I was just actually guessing.
Does that mean I get to be Chuck Norris and we good guys always wear black?
Why not? That sounds good. A black guy in a monocle, holding a cat and a banana.
It's everything.
Thank you for listening to Talking About Marketing. If you enjoyed it, please leave a rating or a review in your favourite podcast app. And if you found it helpful, please share it with others. Steve and David always welcome your comments and questions, so send them to podcast@talkedaboutmarketing.com. And finally, the last word to Oscar Wilde. There's only one thing worse than being talked about, and that's not being talked about.